I'm not the person to be discussing this with.
Okay, but the children's parents are concerned. There's large groups of parents at the school who are concerned with you teaching their child if you're enforcing your pronouns on them. Across Britain, it's the indoctrination within the education system to LGBTQ plus values. Many children are being put in trouble, feeling under pressure to take part and participate in this ideology, because that's what it is. It's an ideology. Now, at this school here, we've been contacted by multiple parents who are concerned because a transgender teacher who wishes to be addressed by the pronouns mix, children are getting put in trouble, forced to address them by mix. If they call them sir or call them mister or anything else, they're put in trouble, taken out of education and put on an indoctrination course to check their values. So imagine how confusing this is for young children. Looking at a man and being forced to not call it a man, but call it mix. What the hell is mix? Now, this is wrong, but this is a far wider problem than Cheslin Academy, because this is happening across the UK, and it's happening from the age of 5 and 6. That's what's happening. So I want to ask the teacher in this incident, does he think it's right? He, she, it, mix, do they think it's right that children are being taken out? And what this must be damaging, it must be scary, it must be all these emotions for a young child, not knowing whether they're coming or whether they're going, what's right and what's wrong. Now, what's right is that it's a man. That's what's right, yeah? But they're being forced to believe that's not right. And it's just wrong. And this is about the children. This isn't, I'm sorry I'm going to have to do this and ask the questions of this teacher, but this isn't about the teacher. It's about children. And there are children across the UK, and there's right and wrong, and the children should not be forced to participate in this lunacy and this madness within the education system. The school should be protecting the kids, not protecting the 6'4" man's feelings, but protecting the children's feelings. Taking them out, putting them on re-education, indoctrination courses. It's wrong, and the public needs to be aware of it. As a parent, you need to know that from the age of 5 and 6, they're going to confuse your kids. And when I say confuse your kids, in my child's school, do you know how many children are now transgender and non-binary? And most of them are self-harming. There's big issues going on. The school are facilitating mental health issues from teachers and enforcing them on kids, and eventually causing mental health issues for the children. Protect your children.
So let's introduce the 6'3" bundle of dynamite. It's Miss Sunday.
Hello. I'm super excited to be here. Thanks for having me, Scott.
Good morning. It's 5 a.m. We are in Birmingham, and we're on the way to a school teacher's house to question them nicely. Backstory: there's a school near here, and children. I've been following the situation with Enoch Burke in Ireland, who is a school teacher who refuses to address a pupil by their now pronouns. So it's either a boy that says it's a girl or a girl says it's a boy, and he says no, it's a boy. Yeah. So it's a fact what he says, and he's done 580 days in prison. Now I think that's insane. Yeah. He's made a stand, and each time he gets out of jail, he does the same again, because they can obviously. So I've been following that story, and now I got contacted by parents up here about an issue in the school, and bringing me lots of issues from this school. Yeah? And one of the issues is that pupils are being penalised, and they're getting in trouble if they address their teacher by the wrong pronouns. So let me show you the teacher, which I just found shocking when I looked at it. Because look, the teacher, this man, because that's what it is, right? That's a man. It's not even really making a good attempt, really, yeah? It's a man, it's got face stubble, it's got beard, it's got a moustache, but you can dress how you want when you become a man or a woman, yeah? Dress how you want. But the children are being penalised and put on refocused courses. If one schoolboy called that sir, now then the parents got called in, and what the children have to call this is mix, MX. So a mix between Mr. and Mrs. So yes mix, not yes miss, yes sir, yes mix. And if they don't address the teacher as mix, they're put on re-education, indoctrination courses, LGBTQ club plus, and that's what's happened to a pupil whose parents are then brought into the school, and he's penalised. So that's it. We're on the way there now. We're now sat outside the house. It's a difficult one because this is a school teacher. We don't want to be turned up at a school with lots of school kids running around in front of all the school children asking questions. But I want to be as nice as I can to this this gentleman, but I need to ask him some questions and whether he thinks it's right. So to do that, we need to know what time he comes out of his house. We need to know how we can question him safely. So we have private investigators. So when we're after the groomers, when we're after anyone, we put a private investigator on who then watches. This is the last week, this is the last 2 days. So we've watched outside this house. First day, there's 3 men that live in this house. We didn't know that, yeah? So we've had to watch as one man comes out, then we've had to follow a car and see if that's him, which is this footage here. Then the gentleman's come back with night vision goggles, which then gives him the ability to sit, because it was dark as the people coming out, and check. And we realise that it's the wrong person getting in the car, it's not him. Then the other gentleman that leaves in another car, because there's 2 cars, that's not him either. So staying here, we then finally got the ID on him, which is this footage here, which is the taxi pulls up and he comes out at 7:32. So the other car leaves at 7:06, as it just did. Yeah, but we have to do this groundwork, which we're only able to do because people support our work, because that costs money. Not just that, us flying in here last night, and then hotels. Kev has come up and picked us up, so we've got a blacked out car, yeah? Because if we had to rent one of these, it's going to cost us a fortune as well. So we used to have one of these, but we probably do need one. But Kev's come picked us up, he's drove a very long way. Andy's here. We've been in the hotel for the night, well, for 4 hours, pretty much. Like the night before for 2 hours, but we've been in the hotel. We're now here. We just want to ask this gentleman, and this tied in perfectly with our work schedule, because after this we're going to a court case which was meant to be in this town where we are. It's been moved last minute, so we're going to a court case. We'll be covering that after this. But we're here to try. The problem we've got is we've got a short distance from when he comes out of his door. When I say he wants to be addressed as mixed by the pupils, or they're getting in trouble. And
please subscribe to MY Chanel. What we're watching here is not just a heated exchange outside a private home. It's a moment that captures a much bigger argument happening across Britain right now. On the surface, this looks like a confrontation between a campaigner and a teacher. But underneath, it exposes deep concerns about schools, authority, parental rights, and how far ideology should be allowed to go inside classrooms. The situation begins with parents raising concerns about how their children are being treated at school. According to those parents, pupils are being disciplined, removed from lessons, and sent to special sessions simply for addressing a teacher as Mr. or Sir instead of using the term mix. These are not claims coming from online rumors alone. Parents say they are being called into school, children have been reprimanded, and learning time has been disrupted over language that many see as ordinary and respectful. That is where the anger comes from. Not because adults choose to live their lives a certain way, but because children are being pulled into something they do not understand and did not choose. For many parents, this feels like a line has been crossed. Schools are supposed to be places of education, safety, and stability, not environments where children feel anxious about saying the wrong word and getting into trouble. During the confrontation, the teacher repeatedly refuses to engage and redirects responsibility back to the school and the head teacher. On a personal level, that may be understandable. Nobody wants to be challenged outside their home. But on a wider level, it exposes a serious accountability problem. If teachers say it's school policy, and school leaders avoid public explanation, parents are left with nowhere to turn. Their concerns don't disappear. They harden into distrust. This is where the issue stops being about one individual and becomes about the system itself. Parents are not asking to control a teacher's private life. They are asking why their children are being punished for using language that has been normal for generations. Mr., Miss, and Sir are not insults. For most people, they are neutral, respectful terms. When children are told those words are unacceptable and punished for using them, parents naturally ask who decided this and why. Supporters of gender-inclusive policies argue that respecting chosen pronouns is about dignity and safety. They believe schools should model inclusion and protect LGBTQ staff and students from discrimination. That argument exists, and it deserves to be acknowledged. But critics argue that inclusion becomes coercion when disagreement is punished rather than discussed, especially when the children involved are very young and still developing basic understanding of language, identity, and authority. The term mix is unfamiliar to most people. It is not part of traditional English titles. Forcing children to adopt it under threat of discipline feels, to many parents, less like education and more like enforcement. When pupils are taken out of class or placed into special sessions for refusing to comply, parents see that as ideological pressure rather than pastoral care. Another important point is the impact on learning. Every time a child is removed from class, education stops. Every time a school meeting focuses on pronouns instead of maths, reading, or science, priorities are questioned. Parents are not sending their children to school to navigate adult cultural battles. They expect schools to focus on core education and emotional well-being, not political or social experimentation. The refusal to engage in open discussion only makes things worse. When concerns are dismissed, parents feel talked down to. When questions are labeled as offensive, trust collapses. Many parents fear that raising concerns will get their child labeled or punished further. That creates a climate of silence and resentment, not cooperation. This situation also highlights a generational divide. Many adults grew up with clear language norms and see them as descriptive, not political. To them, calling a male teacher sir is not an act of hostility. It's habit. Expecting children to instantly adjust to new language rules and punishing them when they don't feels unreasonable and unfair. The rhetoric used by campaigners can be harsh, provocative, and deliberately confrontational. That tone is not accidental. It reflects frustration from people who feel ignored by institutions that are supposed to serve them. While strong language can escalate tensions, it resonates because it taps into a genuine fear that parents are losing influence over what happens in their children's classrooms. Zooming out, this is part of a national debate. Who decides what values are taught in schools? Where does parental authority end and state authority begin? Are schools places for academic learning first, or platforms for social change? These questions are not going away, and pretending they don't exist only deepens division. What's missing from this entire situation is transparency and balance. Parents want clarity. Teachers want safety. Children need stability. None of that is achieved through silence, punishment, or ideological rigidity. Without open communication, clear boundaries, and respect for differing views, classrooms risk becoming battlegrounds rather than places of learning. This incident is not about hatred or fear of difference. It's about consent, choice, and proportionality. Adults can make personal decisions for themselves. Children should not be pressured to affirm beliefs they don't understand under threat of discipline. Education should inform, not compel. If schools continue down a path where questioning is punished and parents are dismissed, confrontations like this will keep happening. Trust between families and schools will continue to erode. And once that trust is gone, it is incredibly hard to rebuild. At the heart of all this is one simple question. Are schools serving children, or are children being used to serve ideologies? Until that question is answered honestly, this debate will not calm down. It will only grow louder, angrier, and more divided.